Hi, I'm Lucas Mack. I'm a former TV reporter, a published author, TEDx speaker, musician, advertising agency owner, and management consultant. I'm also a former Christian preacher who dedicated 15 years of my life searching for truth and love. I've done a lot of work to heal, and I'm on a mission to see the hurting get healed and the healed go out and heal others, in order for all of us to experience the true love and light we desire. This podcast is me sharing my journey with you, so you don't feel alone in your journey. Welcome to the Golden Rule Revolution. Hello, brothers and sisters, and welcome back to another episode of the Golden Rule Revolution. I am Lucas Mack, and it's such a pleasure to have you join. Today, I just want to have a conversation with you, even though obviously it won't be a back and forth. I want to share my thoughts and ask some questions that I think must be asked and must be answered. There is a massive change coming. A massive change coming. The world has never been more divided. And if you look at the religious or the spiritual prophecies of historical times past, they all culminate to this time. The Mayan prophecy, the Bible, they culminate to this time. And many don't know what those prophecies say. And you don't need to necessarily know, but I want to talk to you about where we are, where we're going to go, and where you fall in the line on either side. You see, there is either love or there is fear. That is the existence that we've come to know. And even my daughter asked the other day, why are there bad people in the earth? And I said, well, do you know what hot water is? She said, yeah. I said, how? You know hot water from cold water. We know light because of darkness. We know healing because of pain. And we know love because of fear. So the duality existence that we've lived in for a long time, I was going to say too long, but it's actually the perfect amount of time, has led us to this point where every single person, you and I, there will be no excuse of, I didn't know, because we will be left with our own beliefs, words, and actions. And were they in alignment? Did we speak in love, come from love, walk in love, first to receive the love of God, to receive the God of love, first of all? I said on Instagram a while back, to find the love of God, we must first find the God of love. And why do you think it is that the entire dualistic system has presented God as an angry, fearful, vengeful, judgmental God? To create fear so that we can see this, reject this, and then search for what is true, which is love. That's why it's allowed to happen. But many, unfortunately, profess love, but their actions are anything but loving. And there's some whose actions align to their words, but some would call them not kind, not soft. And this isn't about, it's funny because I can even hear, oh, you're talking about Trump. I'm not talking about politicians. I'm talking about the entire system on this planet. I'm talking about the war for your mind, the war for your heart, and the war for your soul. Sadly, we have been deceived by the narcissists who run the world. And make no mistake about it, narcissists run the world. Narcissists with their smile, and they learn the language that everyone speaks, and then they speak that language back to them, and then everyone's like, wow, this person's really amazing. That's why many narcissists fit within religion, because all you have to say is God bless you, or fake cry, or oh, Jesus loves you, and then everyone's like, wow, that's an amazing person, and they just keep moving right along. That's why the whole religious system is set up. That's why there's 5 major religions in the world. Then narcissists embed themselves into these systems. First of all, they intentionally create these systems, but then they embed themselves into these systems, and then they go, and this whole world is based off this reptilian, narcissistic nature that does nothing but destroy and eat away the sovereignty, the soul, the love of mankind, of humanity. And wherever you are right now, spiritually, emotionally, physically, even where your politics align, where your philosophies align, where your economics align, where all these modalities align, all of these matter not if you, my brother or sister, are not vulnerable enough to talk about your story, your pain, your hurting, the times that you lacked love in your life, the time that parents hurt you, abused you, that neighbors abused you. I'm going to have an episode come out with Lori Ladd on November 1st, the Monday. I think November 1st or November 2nd on the Monday. And it is one of the most profound conversations I've ever had. But we talk about the narcissistic system and how many people have been sexually abused in this world, and no one wants to talk about it because everyone's like, well, what does it mean about me? You know what it means about us as humanity? As we are in judgment so deeply that we are keeping others in bondage because we don't come from a place of love to give them the permission to share their pain, their truth, their story. And instead we say, well, that's not right. You're not right. You're wrong. But who the hell can say we're wrong? All that matters is we see each other as one race, one species, one collective, one soul. And if you hurt, then I hurt. And if I hurt, you hurt. It's not to indict another. It's to say enough of this division, to see ourselves apart from ourselves, to say to love one another is to love oneself, and to love oneself is to love one another. And I would never do to you that which I would not want done to me. And this system of duality, of judgment, of political parties, of economic modalities, of governmental modalities, of religion, and haves and have-nots, and 99% and 1%. Look, we can only look back at history to know what the future holds. That's why they want to change the history. That's why they, being those who benefit from the confusion and the division that we experience right now, change the narrative in times past so that when we look back, it's hard to tell where we're going. And I've said this many times in this podcast. It's one of the reasons this podcast got started, which is the golden rule revolution, which means to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And that which you deem hateful unto yourself, do not do unto another. If you would not want someone to say you're wrong, then don't say you're wrong. If you would not want someone to say you're an idiot, I know better than you, then don't say that to another. It's very simple. That which you would not do to yourself, do not do to another. The golden rule. But being a revolutionary, we're seeing 2 revolutions take place. And historically, the most powerful revolution to ever take place in the past 200 years was the Indian Revolution against the British Empire, which is the most powerful empire on planet Earth. And there was not one violent act started because the leader of that movement, Mahatma Gandhi, said, be the change you want to see. And he went on a silence strike. He didn't speak, I think, for like 27 days. You can look that up, but he did not speak for a long period of time. And this journalist from London came to him while Gandhi was getting on a train. And they said, Gandhi, what's your message to the British people? And he took a piece of paper, wrote on it, gave it to the journalist. And on that piece of paper, it said, my life is my message. That was a revolution that overthrew the greatest power on planet Earth at the time. But we are watching other revolutions take place that profess violence as virtue, and it is not virtuous. Vitriol as virtue, and it is not virtuous. Division, slander, attack, lies, confusion. You know what's virtuous, my brothers and sisters? Truth. Goodness. I have a book here that I read, I don't know, every couple years. Thoughts on Virtue. Thoughts and reflections from history's great thinkers. I'm just going to open it up. We'll see where, here's Marcus Aurelius. Every man is worth just as much as the things he busies himself with. Daniel Webster. Employment gives health, sobriety, and morals. Constant employment and well-paid labor produce general prosperity, content, and cheerfulness. Well, here's virtues on humility. Mahatma Gandhi, here we go. One must become as humble as the dust before he can discover the truth. One must become as humble as the dust before he can discover the truth. Man, that's amazing. You want to talk about virtue? Virtue is found in humility, in love, in light, in compassion, in empathy, in responsibility. I experienced some of the most heinous abuse I've ever heard of. But that was my sole contract so that I could heal, stand in love and light for all. I don't indict the abusers. Watch my TED Talk. Is there any energy towards the abusers? No, it's an invitation for all of us to acknowledge the pain that resides in us, to speak forth our truth and release that pain so we can once and for all heal and be free, and be an invitation for another person to not feel judgment from us, but permission from us to do the same. Face the pain. Speak the pain and release the pain. Don't think it's lost. Yes, there's an election coming up. An election. An election is just a mirror to see what's in the hearts of men, mankind, humanity. So much fear, anxiety, worry. I was a journalist for a long time. I know how the newsroom works. I know how stories work. I know how the AP wire works. I know how when they take the AP wire and write it in their own language and then regurgitate it back to you, how it works. I know who they are, the whole system. It's not based in truth. It's based in fear. And journalists are some of the most abused people in any professional setting in the world. Truthfully. Journalists are so abused. By the time they get to the top, they're so badgered down and they've just completely lost their sense of sovereignty. And they're paid so well. And there's ego involved and people give them adulation and, oh, you're so-and-so. And there's just this confluence of the system giving praise without any soul virtue. And it's the system that gives us the news, the supposed truth. But if it was the supposed truth, we'd all be free. If truth, once and for all, was exposed to the entire planet, every human being would be free. There is no system in truth. Truth washes away all the systems, all the religions, all the forms, all the functions, all the power structures, all the priestcraft, all the mediators between you and the Most High God. You walk in the presence of God. As humanity was created to do from the first place, when we awaken into that, that's how we experience love. That's how we find the God of love. And Christians said, well, there's only one mediator between God and man, and that is the Lord Christ Jesus. As the model of him and the Father, you go to the Father. I've talked about this on, I think, a podcast. I can't remember. I'm going to bring it up now. The King James Bible, written in 1611, was the seventh Bible in the English language. It was the seventh Bible in the English language. 6 Bibles before that all doctrinally said the exact same thing. In John 14:6, in the King James Bible, Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father but by me. Meaning you model him. You do what he does. You don't worship him. You do what he does. When he says, they ask him, how do Lord, teach us to pray? And he says, our Father, which art in heaven. That means our, meaning collectively, you pray to the Father as I pray to the Father. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Bring down love from heaven on earth and walk in that and walk in the authority. Walk in the presence. Give us this day our daily bread, meaning surrender and trust and watch and see the goodness of nature to fully be present in your own body. The trees don't worry about if they're going to get oxygen. Birds don't worry if they're going to get food. Nature never is at lack. Nature is in abundance. The circle of life is never broken. But when we have fear, we forget that we're part of the circle of life. We walk in scarcity. We walk in fear. So give us this day our daily bread and lead us not into temptation. What is tempting? Tempting is to walk us out of the presence of love, to walk us into these places of division, which these fool's gold. Precious metals are found deep in the earth. They're not found on the surface of the earth. And lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. And forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those that trespass against us. Just trespass, that cross our will. Forgive us, God, for crossing your will. And what is his will? That you love one another. As we forgive those who cross our will and weren't loving to us. And lead us not into temptation. Deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Thine. What? God is love. And the kingdom of love is the power, is the glory, and is the kingdom forever. Love and light. But the new Bible versions, getting back to John 14:6, the new Bible versions from 1881 to today say, John 14:6 says, I am the way, the truth, the life. No man comes to the Father but through me. And there you go. There's the split. To emulate, take responsibility, and do what the greatest teacher of love and light told us to do, which is to do it ourselves. Whosoever will come after me, let him take up his cross, deny himself, and follow me. Do as I do. But this new narrative in the progressive era in 1881 changed it to through me, subjugating the sovereignty of humanity, becoming back to this worshipful sense of this power structure greater than ourselves. And so we find ourselves as human beings at the end of this age, the end of the times of judgment, the end of the times of duality. That's what we're entering. This will not last forever, ever. Either the earth will split, time will split, timelines will split, but this cannot last forever. If you've heard of the Mandela effect, I was just blown away by this today. The very first Superman, the actor's name was Christopher Reeves. That's how everyone remembers it, Christopher Reeves. But if you Google his name, Google shows it as Christopher Reeve. Sally Fields from Saving Mrs. Doubtfire. That movie, or, obviously she had loads of careers from Forrest Gump and all that. Sally Fields. But if you look it up on Google, it says Sally Field. Star Wars. And I used to be a server at Red Robin, and I used to go by Luke on my name tag. So every time people are like, Luke, I am your father. Luke, I am your father. I heard it probably thousands of times. But if you look at what the movie says now, it says, no, I am your father. So was it always no, I am your father, and we remember it wrong? Or have they changed? Have we woken up in a new timeline, new dimension? These are just some of the Mandela effects. Berenstein Bears versus Bernstein Bears. I mean, I could go on and on. My point being, we are coming to the end of the age. And the gift that we all are given during this time is that everything that is within our hearts is being revealed right now. Whether we have anger, judgment, rage, division, confusion, fear, worry, anxiety, or we're walking in love and light and peace and humanity. And usually, guess what? It pisses people off in division, anger, judgment, rage, trauma. That pisses them off when people walk in love and light, say, hey, you can walk in love and light, and they usually stone them, attack them, make them the enemy, which is the historically patterned path that we've been shown. They did it to Jesus. They did it to Stephen. They've done it to many, 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 many. In fact, I have a book called Fox's Book of Martyrs, so all the martyrs that were killed by Rome. So we are at this stage right now. And this message today is a reminder, maybe not to your intellect, but to your soul. And dear soul, the trauma that was inflicted upon you was equal to your freedom. Run from it, turn from it no longer. Have the courage to face it, to say everything without judgment of yourself, without hearing any other person's voice in your head. Say what you really wanted to say. If you didn't get the love that you craved, there was nothing wrong with saying, I didn't get the love that I craved. Even if the voice inside your head quickly says, well, I grew up in a good house. I mean, what do I have to complain about? Am I married? Blah, 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 blah. That's not your voice. That is their voice. And as long as you have their voice inside you as your voice, you will never be free. And this is the time I, as your brother, am calling you forth to say, face yourself, face the pain, speak the pain, release the pain so that you can heal. It's not about who is the president, what political party is in power. It's not about skin color. It's not about economic status, not about haves and have-nots. It's not about any of these things externally. It is about internal healing versus external trauma being released. And it is time for us to have the courage to go in and heal. When we heal, when truth comes forth and we feel safe enough to share our truth, we are free, and more people will feel safe enough to share their truth. They will be free. And when we start unplugging from these systems that blanket us with this narrative swirling, it's constant, just swirling. News, social media, digital, push notifications, all this stuff swirling, just constantly. When you unplug from all that and say, what the fuck? What is literally happening right now? And when you feel the judgment of your denomination, your pastors, your friends, your religions, your parents, your friend, all these social structures, when you say, what? And just stop and get quiet and still with yourself and cry and heal and be and reclaim your sovereignty and walk in the love of God. Breathe in that presence. Remember that you are the light. And if you don't shine, don't blame others for them not shining. You shine and remind others how they can shine. Whatever happens on November 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 13th, and from on, whatever happens, and however long we have on this earth. All we are called to do is surrender the ego, release the pain so that we can know love and we can heal and we can be free. And the narcissistic system, the egocentric facade and veneer is being not just washed away, but blown away right now. Absolutely blown away. I mean, don't we want that? Burn it all down. Let's see what's left. If it's hay and stubble, as it says in Corinthians, then it will burn away and become ash. But if it's precious metal, gold and silver, it will only be refined in the fire. It will become more pure, not less. But may it all be done in love. So this message is for you, dear brother and sister. Recognize where you have fear. Recognize where you have anger, hatred. Recognize where you're trying to blame right now. Recognize where you're trying to divert full, naked accountability and responsibility to yourself. Recognize it. Be aware of it. And then confess it, not to me, not to another, just to yourself. Speak it. Have the courage to speak. Speak truth again. Speak love again. Speak. Open that throat chakra and let it rip. But speak. And watch what happens. Watch what happens, brothers and sisters. Messages on virtue. I'm going to end on that Gandhi quote again. One must become as humble as the dust before he can discover truth. And yet Yeshua said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Humble thyself in the sight of God, and he shall lift you up. The dichotomy is when we go down, we actually rise. But when we rise, we go down. Recognize the time. Recognize the season. Go in so that you can go more fuller out. Look up so you can look down. Look down so you can look up. Don't get stuck in this Sunday school Romanistic narrative. Be a sovereign being. Be a king. Be a queen. Be royal. Be a priest. Be a prophet. Be a king for your own sake, not for the sake of another. And love one another. Love one another. Be a revolutionary and love one another. And have the humility to acknowledge you're wrong. Go watch my episode, Why I Left Christianity to Find the Love of God. What do you need to leave? What form do you need to leave? May we leave it all. I don't want to have any form of this world, this Romanistic system. We're in the last, if you look at the prophecies of Daniel, Daniel had 4 prophecies. This statue with a head of gold, torso of silver, waist and down to the knees of bronze, and then knees down to the feet of iron and clay. And that's where we're in. We're in the iron and clay, which is Rome. We are in the iron and clay, and it is going away. And whether you think it's the Mashiach, Jesus returning, age of Aquarius, the golden age, all these things are different vernaculars for the exact same event, which is the Roman reptilian system is leaving so that the kingdom of light, the kingdom of heaven on earth, the kingdom of love, the kingdom of truth, the kingdom of goodness and humility and kindness, all the things that we want are coming, but they're not found in the system that's being removed. So detach from that which is being removed and go in, heal, receive love, stand in love and light for all people, and pull people out. Or be an invitation for others to take your hand so that when they're ready, they can grab on and you together can lift them out. That's the message today. I bless you all. I bless you all. Whether you agree with this message or disagree with this message, regardless of what you think of me, here I am. Here am I blessing you with the highest good, the highest love, the highest truth, the highest honor, the highest virtue, that nothing can supersede your sovereign healing, your sovereign freedom, and your sovereign good. The episodes that I have coming out are so profound and deep, and I cannot wait to release them. And yet, your job between now and then is to do the work, to get still, to go into nature, to go into the woods, to let it rain on you, to feel the dirt, to listen to the trees, the wind, all these things. Reconnect with who you truly are. And look how the world is truly loved. And leave the matrix, leave the Roman system, leave the 3D earth, leave these dualities and polarities and judgments, and sit and receive once again so that you truly can know the truth. And the truth is you are infinitely and unconditionally loved. And because you are loved, you can walk in truth and be free. I bless you. I am Lucas Mack. This is the Golden Rule Revolution. And I look forward to talking with you on the next episode. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for listening. For support in your journey, go to my website, lucasmack.com.